Is a tough baseline. It's more difficult than ever to just exist or get by, and it's not getting any easier. Moving forward in today's world has become both an art and a science. Food, clothing, temporary shelter, long-term housing, short-term jobs, temporary employment, or long-range careers. It all takes some help and finesse. Not everyone can do it. It's an art and a science. And let's face it, not everyone is a scientist. Some people need more help than others. The basics like reliable transportation, internet, laundry, a regular shower, even water, those basics we all take for granted. Electricity, these are the challenges of those caught in the net, are homeless, unhoused, housing challenged, living in the margins. People of all ages, young, middle-aged, senior citizens, entire families, male, female, all reasons and all walks of life. Anyone can find themselves living in the margins. Homelessness and the challenges that go with it are not going away, and we can't ignore them. It's just too expensive. We've got to do better. Take the next step forward. Tune in now and listen to Working in the Margins.
San Bernardino, Inland Empire, back again. So it's been a minute, y'all. I took a break for the last, thank you, Eric. I took a break for the last month, a little bit over a month. I needed a break, y'all. November it's difficult for me. I lost a lot of people in November. My dad, it was a year, and it was tough. I started feeling kind of like out of sorts, like I just couldn't tap into my base. So I needed to take a break, and it's a lot of work. I don't know who. I mean, I know who knows because there's lots of folks that have weekly radio shows or weekly podcasts. But if you do it right, and it takes a lot of preparation to like get your guests, if you have guests, and just to get your material together and do your research. If you offer services like extension to services through this platform like I do, finding all those resources, it takes research. And I put a lot of effort into my preparation for this show because it means so much to me. So, yeah, I'm back and I'm ready to go. I'm fired up. There's a lot going on out in the community, out in the world. Yes, I'm ready to go. I have been very busy. I'm going to catch you up on a few things that I've been doing and hanging in there with, trying to get going in the community. I missed a whole holiday, Thanksgiving, but I didn't miss it. I was working. I was able to get donations and for folks that are in our housing programs and family assistance program. I think I forgot totally I need to remind people. I'm Shazette Scott. And this is my show, Working in the Margins with Z. And I am a social service worker, and currently I work at Family Assistance Program, and I have for the last two and a half years, working on a mission of making sure folks are housed and fed and taken care of. So that's me. I'll share a little bit more about who I am in the next segment. So I'm doing a really big project right now, and that was another thing that I needed to be able just to concentrate on that because I'm doing a really big project right now for the agency. We're having a summit. It's a community awards summit. We're honoring some long service folks that have been doing some great work here in San Bernardino and in the county. And it's a housing and employment service provider summit. So we're going to talk about housing needs in San Bernardino. We're going to brainstorm. This is a collaborative capacity building event that I was honored to be able to head up and convince my boss that I could get it done in a month. So, and it's going great. We had wonderful sponsors from the community that helped me raise money to make, because nonprofits don't have money for events like this. So we have to raise that money. So me and my coworker, Tiffany Leon, she helped me we helped get she helped get funding for the event, and then we had a little marketing money. But other than that, we are it's almost completely sponsored by some great sponsors that I've had an awesome chance to meet, like Pac Mod. Pac Mod, they're going to be at the event. They're presenting. The event is sorry, it's Thursday. It's at IEHP, but it's sold out. We were at capacity, half capacity the first weekend, and then this past weekend we are exceeded capacity. Um, but Pac Mod is the builder of our tiny homes for our tiny home project with family assistance in the high desert. So they build these tiny homes. So they're going to come and they're going to talk to us about, why they do that and what that looks like. We have two contracting companies here. Here, Elco and TK constructing or contracting here in San Bernardino. They so graciously donated Beeman's Pharmacy. I know y'all know Beeman's. They've been a community member for decades. They donated, and then IEHP, they donated the space. So that's always can't do nothing if you don't have a place to do it at. So I'm really excited. It's going to be a great day. I got some great panelists coming. We're going to give awards, like I said, to some community members that you may know of, like Don Smith from SoCal Pathways to Housing. He's from on the west side of the county. Um, he's been doing wonderful work in this community for years. He's getting like the long service award because he's helped everybody. Good Lord. Every time you can't say his name in the circles that I run in, and people not know who he is. So he's a servant, a social services servant. So the Mountain Homeless Coalition, they run everything up in the mountains for their homeless. Um, they have a tough job because for many, many months of the year, they have no access to services down here. So they've been doing that for decades, also up in the mountains, taking care of their homeless and marginalized populations up there. Operation New Hope, um, they I don't even know what to say about them. They do everything. They are the key. Okay, here's what I want you to know about Operation New Hope. They are saving our kids from the streets and putting them in the path to um, better jobs, trainings, school. They take care of the kids, and I love partnering with them. Russell Degnon, who works, he's a CEO there. He's an amazing person, and we have a few more. I think the our we have Eloise Reyes Gomez Reyes. I think Senator Eloise Gomez Reyes. We're honoring her as our legislator of the year. So she's gonna be able to. I'm so happy she's gonna make it to the event because we really want to honor her for all everything that she's done on behalf of just partnering with this agency, but on behalf of domestic violence survivors everywhere in California, because she's been our champion as far as VOCA funding for the last few years. And without that funding, we could not service and take care of and provide for our domestic violence survivors the way that we do. We have Family Assistance Program has seven. They have six or seven in a DV coalition, agencies in the DV coalition. So she'll be there. I got word today that she'll be there for sure, and I'm happy about that. I love Eloise. Eloise and I go back to when she first started running. I worked, volunteered, and worked on her campaign. I was in the Senate at the time with Senator Connie Leva, and we she got Eloise got tapped and they brought her in and she won, and I've known her since then. She's a wonderful person. She's always on the right side of things. Um, and she's got a super supportive family. Her husband Frank, He's on the school district. He's a trustee on the school district. So their family is just ingrained here. Her family is ingrained here in the IE in San Bernardino. This is a family that has given back to the place where they stay and live at the highest levels of being a servant. So I'm happy. I am really excited about this event because it's kind of like my year end, like a year end wrap up, get together, summit. So all the folks I've been like working with for the last year, and the agency that has been working with, and we've been partnering with, and folks I've had on my shows, they're all gonna. I'm gonna be able to lay eyes on a lot of them on at this event because there's so many people, different agencies that RSVP'd. So our registration list is like, it's amazing. I look at it, I'm like, this is amazing. There's so many different agencies in the IE, and I'm going to get to see a lot of them on Thursday morning. So at IEHP. So yeah, what else? I've really tried to stop doom scrolling and doom scrolling online with the negative stuff because it was just so much, and it wasn't healthy. I already suffer from seasonal affect disorder. It gets kind of hard when we don't have regular sunshine. It messes with your moods. It's nothing severe. There's nothing to take for it. It's just.
Can I ask if
Yes.
do you have like a certain lamp or light for that? Because I heard, is that like the same thing?
It's supposed to, and I do. Thank you for asking that, Eric.
Of course, because a lot of people may not know what that is, so you
Yeah.
might inform a lot of
Oh
listeners.
goodness. So, and you may not know you have it until you just may think, oh, it's the stresses of the holiday season and things like that. But if you're used to getting like sunlight and being out and doing things like that, your body is dependent upon that. So when that goes away and you're not getting it as much, your body reacts to that. So yes, there are lights. So like, I don't know, maybe I want to say at the beginning of November, I went through and changed all my light bulbs in my house. That's the time that I do it. I just check them in, and they're a higher watt, so that I have, I'll go from like 60s to 75 or 80s or 100. And that seems to help. And I try to, every morning I go outside outside in my yard. I have a garden. Let me slip this in real quick. There is a pumpkin in my garden that is surviving the cold weather. I tried to lift it. It's got to be at least 25 or 30 pounds.
Ooh, watch out, Guinness World Record. We're
I
going
know, because I'm like, this is how it happens. Anyway, so I go outside as soon as I get up, and I make sure that I get, some light on me, and I try to stay outside as much as possible when there's light.
Yeah, take advantage of the sunlight when it's out.
When it's out.
Yeah, I just had some coffee outside in the back because the sunlight was out, so
Yes.
I crept out and to get some vitamin D.
Because and that's the other thing, vitamin D. We need that. We have to have that, especially people of color. If you got more melanin in your skin than other non-melanated people, you need that vitamin D.
Wow, I had no idea. That's
Yes.
wow. See, you're informing me, and then I imagine all the
Yes.
other listeners as well.
Yes, if you are black or brown, if you have high melanin, period, then yeah, it's really important that you get vitamin D. So yes, it's been a challenge this last month, but I also have been on the positive. We're gonna switch now. On the positive, I have been reading more, which is good. Well, it depends upon if you don't like what I read, but I've been reading more, and right now I am reading Margaret Atwood's her life story, her biography. It is amazing, but it's 23 hours long, and I don't know if I can listen to anybody for that long, so I'm not breezing through it like I normally would. I like short books, like with the powerful message. I don't care if you have to write of those short books, but one book for 25 hours, that's a long time. But I love Margaret Atwood and her writing. So I'm reading more. I am researching more about historical things that happen that have a correlation to how things are going on now in our governments and in our society, because it really helps to keep a clear head and to keep focused when you can touch back and say, this already happened and we survived it. And this is how we survived it. Or these are the mistakes we made and it could have been better. So finding historical relevance to some of the things that are going on right now. But some of it's scary, y'all. I'm not going to lie. Because I see a lot of things that are like, hints of Jim Crow, hints of marginalization of women, or the erasure of women and women's rights. Not just the erasure of women's rights, but women from the workplace, from the professional halls of business. That number about African American women that have lost their jobs, that made over 6 figures a year, is up to 350,000. And it's just like, what happened. So doing more research, trying to find out, hey, what did we do before when this stuff was happening? Because it's happened before. It's rare. We're not doing anything really new or really, it's novel. It's happened before, just under different people in charge with different schemes, So that's helped a lot. Spending time with family. I was able to spend Thanksgiving. I was telling Eric earlier, I was able to spend Thanksgiving with my brother and his family. And it was a good thing because I know I've shared that my brother had a kidney transplant this year, early August. But prior to that, he was on the list, and he really couldn't have like visitors and all that stuff because he couldn't get sick. He couldn't, and people, we sometimes we don't know we got COVID or things like that, or colds and stuff. But he couldn't get sick, so he had very limited exposure to people outside of his wife and his daughter and granddaughter. But this was the first year in a long time that we all got together, me and my family and his family, and it was wonderful. We had a great time, just being with each other and realizing how much we are alike. So I could stop calling my brother crazy, because we just alike. He's got different views, and I was like, but most of the time they're the same views. I share with him, so it was great. We had a really good time, and I hope everybody had a good time too, with your families for Thanksgiving. And that's what you call it. I don't really call it Thanksgiving. It's I can't tell you what I call it. I don't want to get in trouble. So, but I know that's what the public calls it, Thanksgiving. So
I call it Turkey Day.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah.
yeah. In mixed circles, I call it Turkey Day. Yes, I do. But it's overall, it was a very, very good idea for me to take a break. And to come back, and I feel rejuvenated, excited. I'm ready to go. Things are going to look different going forward, because I've got some really good things planned, and I got some really good supporters. But I think everybody knows Dr. Gwen Dowdy Rogers. She has a young women's group that is very interested in developing their radio personality podcast skills. And because I'm not going to live forever, I am absolutely going to mentor them in this space to do that. And so after my big event is over and I get a little time, I'm going to sit down with them and start bringing them on. And I am so excited about that. I am really excited about mentoring folks, young folks, young women, and behind me to come. I'm gonna be an ancestor one day, and I want them to be able to, tap into me and say, "Hey, thank you." So that'll change. That'll be a good change coming. And then I'm hoping that Ipiani will be able to come back on as my monthly co-host, so we could talk about all things male, all things boys. So we could, tap into that. I'm a boy mom.
He didn't tell you that he's not allowed in the station anymore?
Oh, did he get kicked out?
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna see him on Thursday. I'm gonna ask him.
He'll tell you why. He'll tell you
what
why.
What did you do? So I'm hoping he'll join me again once a month, and we'll do that. We're gonna go to a break right now, and when I come back, I'm gonna talk to you about some things that's been on my mind that I did some research on. Be right back.
KCAA, all local, all the time. Celebrating 25 years on the air with NBC News and the voices of your community. Here's the latest Inland Empire and SoCal weather on the Legacy NBC News, KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM. For tonight, it'll be clear with a low around 54. And that's the latest weather from KCAA. Listen 24/7, anywhere, everywhere. Now there's an app for KCAA. Download it today. Just type KCAA, then listen on any device. KCAA, the stations that leave no listener behind. NBC 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM.
Celebrate the holiday season with Inland Pacific Ballet's The Nutcracker. Set to Tchaikovsky's classic score, follow Clara from the land of snow through the kingdom of sweets. With more than 80 dancers and special guest artists, exquisite sets, costumes, and cherished scenes. A must-see holiday tradition for all ages. Experience SoCal's signature holiday production with 4 performances at Bridges Auditorium in Claremont on December 13th and 14th. And 3 at Fox Performing Arts Center in Riverside on December 20th and 21st. Tickets are available at ipballet.org. That's ipballet.org.
KCAA.
So download the app in your smart device today. Listen everywhere and anywhere, whether you're in Southern California, Texas, or sailing on the Gulf of Mexico. Life's a breeze with KCAA. Download the app in your smart device today.
I'll be sailing out of yesterday in the Gulf of Mexico.
KCAA.
Welcome back. This is Shazette. You've tuned in to Working in the Margins with Z. I am at the wonderful studios and station of KCAA, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. We are here in the Teamsters 1932 building. I came a different way today, and this building is like a maze. And it's a really good spot. And I love being right here in downtown too. I love that, coming down here. So yeah, I've been researching, and I've been trying to listen with the goal and to the news and all that stuff of what's going on out there today, with a mind set on understanding, and not be so defensive, trying to find out why people feel the ways that they do, why they say the things that they say, what, it's been difficult. And I do not like that there is so much news coming from out of the White House, or what used to be the White House. I don't know, they tore part of it down or something. I don't know what they're doing. They're doing a ballroom or a jazz room or something. I don't know. But I've been really trying to not just, like, what do the kids call it? Crash out. I've been trying not to crash out, But I don't like that there's so much news coming out, and it's just random silly stuff sometimes, and I'm like, but the real focus of the information is not it's not helpful. It's not doing anything to help. I think it's distractions from a lot of things. I think it's to keep us distracted from what the realities of the situation are. But I know that I can say a few things about what I see and what my experience is right now and has been for the last 6 months or so. And that most of the people, no matter what party or who you support or believe in, are seeing the same things. And I think that that's what I've been really trying to do is find commonality. But I can't with everybody. Some of y'all just off your rockers. I'm gonna let you know. I don't buy into none of your BS about racism or the disenfranchisement of black people voting or the humiliation of black men in prisons or any of that stuff. That's BS. I don't buy into that. But I've been trying to find commonality in some of the beliefs or why the beliefs, why are a whole swath of people reactive and invigorated by the state of our government right now when so many of them and us are feeling so negatively affected. That's what I'm looking for, commonality in there. It's hard to find. But I know right now groceries are high. I don't know whoever, put your hand up. Groceries are high. Higher than they have been. They weren't higher than they were, let's say 2 years. Higher than they were 2 years ago. Okay? Put your hand up. Gas is high. We are never going to see $3 again. We are almost at $5 a gallon. $4.65 at a gas station. I passed up and I'm on E. Because I'm not paying $4.65. I'm going to the one that's still $3.99 down the street. Sorry. Because I got to decide. Do you have to decide? Put your hand up if you got to put gas in the car or eat or have food on the table or less food on the table to put gas in the car. I have a hybrid. But that $30 difference, utilities are high. Put your hand up. They higher than they have been in a while. Utilities, electricity, gas. They're high. At least 30%, 40%. So I know that I'm not the only one. I know it's a whole bunch of people out there that got your hand up. Black, white, Mexican, Native American, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, it doesn't matter because I see all of y'all at the Stater Brothers. I see all of you at the Stater Brothers. And you looking at me like I'm looking at you like, when did we start paying $3.50 for a loaf of bread? That we used to be able to get for $2 or, a good loaf of bread for $2.25 or something like that. So I've been really trying to delve into commonality and solutions based around our commonality and not around our differences. There's enough differences, there's enough people out there that are stuck on exploiting the differences. And I don't, if you got the energy to try to get a second job to continue to pay for your family and be a racist and be out there and talk about all that stuff, good for you if you got that kind of energy. I don't have that kind of energy. But it's people out there that do. And that's them. I'm not the judge, and I'm definitely not the jury because I would have a conflict of interest. But I want to introduce myself again because I think that one of the things that I really concentrated on during my break was trying to find out who I was going to be as a media person, somebody who had a media platform. What was I going to do with it? Because this does not come easy. I am blessed to be able to have this platform. And I am blessed to be able to have this platform so that I can help shape the narrative of what's some of the tropes and things that are being put out there. So first, I think it's obvious I'm a black woman. I'm a progressive. I don't know what that means to you. I think I know Republican progressives, I know Democratic progressives, I know independent progressives. Not as many, not many Republican, but I do know some folks that call themselves fiscally conservative, but socially liberal. So, whatever that looks like for you. But I'm a progressive. I am rooted in my community. And my community does not all look like me. My community is expansive. It's expansive. I grew up out here, so I have white friends, Mexican friends, Native American. I have all across all spectrums. Everybody, Koreans, everybody. And those people are the people that I represent and that I want to represent, because those are your marginalized communities. Those are your minority communities. And that's what I'm committed to, the truth about our communities and what's going on in our communities, where we need to do better and what we can do better, where we can interact and interject ourselves into other cultures so that we can learn about them and then they can learn about us, and nobody will be afraid of each other. Doesn't that make sense? It makes sense to me. I wanted to really talk about media since I'm back on these airwaves over here. I wanted to talk about media and what's going on about, some current events. But mainly I want to talk to you about trust and transformation in news media. So I want to start with trust. So there's a Pew Research recently reported that young adults are turning to social media for news, trusting it as much as national outlets. Think about that, okay? For marginalized communities, social media has been both a lifeline and a battlefield, because these outlets, they're not for the weak. They talk about everybody, everything about everybody. They repeat the negatives for likes and ticks and checks or whatever they do. It's hard to hear positive affirmations these days because so many people have taken to the airwaves to crash out and share their disdain for, our government or what's going on in society or other people in society. It's like everybody got the permission to let their emotions out, their feelings out, their beliefs out on these social media. But I think that sometimes we forget about being compassionate and that there's other people out there that's going to see this and they are going to think those people are talking about me. And it's really hard, folks. I know it's hard because we have a government run by somebody that just don't give a fuck. He calls people names. He tells people, and that's hard, but people are mimicking and they think that, hey, he does it, we can do it too, we can get away with it. And it's just taking the compassion out of the communities and out of society, where you can just, I imagine, so he did something about, and I'll probably never say his name, but he did something not too long ago, and it was a reporter that was asking him something, and this is what he does because he's a maniac, and he called her Piggy. He said it like twice. He says something piggy. He called this professional woman reporter Piggy. And I was like, man, that sucks. That's terrible. Why would you do that? Because I just kept imagining all those kids that had watched that with the news or sitting at with their parents or doing whatever, seeing him do that, and all those kids going to school the next day calling each other Piggy. That's all I kept thinking. And I was like, you are leaving the worst example of a human. What, oh my God. And then when he calls, like, obviously, accomplished, brilliant, educated, competent people, low energy or low brain or low character or good night, Irene. I'm like, where in the world so you have other people that are like, oh, okay, that's the barometer. That's the ruler. I can say this, but I tell folks all day, don't let your online personality get your ass kicked out here in these streets. Because people ain't playing. People gonna F around and find out. Don't follow this. Don't follow that man. Don't listen. Most of the stuff he says is inane. It's just crazy. Don't do that. And especially the negative stuff. Trust but verify. Don't even trust. Just verify. Find somebody else to get your news from. It's so much, these hashtags and it's all that stuff. But, misinformation spreads like wildfire, though. Misinformation. Algorithms, they decide. Algorithms decide. This is where we are, people, now at this time. Algorithms decide whether voices are raised or whether voices are sunk. So it's the algorithm. So if it's a whole bunch of negative stuff going on and you're doom scroll, that's what happened to me. I was doom scrolling. So my whole algorithm, my whole feed, everything was about disastrous things. Change it. As a Black woman, I know too well how narratives about us are filtered through stereotypes. I know in my lifetime I've been painted as an angry, dangerous, less than. And there's a lot of Black women on social medias and they're like, hey, see me, talk to me, trust me, I'm good. I'm educated, I'm competent, and we can use that platform. But it also can be used in a way to backlash the same women that you're complimenting, Everybody loves Jasmine Crockett until Jasmine Crockett decided to run for Senate in Texas. And now she's getting a lot of backlash for it. I hope she stays strong. I support her. I'm going to send her some money for her campaign. I want her to win because we need to change the narrative. And she's been fighting her butt off since she's been in Congress. Probably before then. She was a civil rights attorney. We just need to change the narrative in some places, I believe, in order to, let some other people talk and let them, let them shine so that, these same drone-on voices coming from these House of Representatives and Congress, it's the same voices. These folks are 80, 75, 80, 90 years old. Same voices. Let's hear we need new voices. Maybe somebody new would have figured this crap out by now. A workaround. I'm not opposed to supporting, new and young and innovative because these kids grew up. I didn't grow up. I didn't get a cell phone until I was in my 20s, early 20s. I think is when they got popular. I was out of high school. But these kids right now, these young folks right now, they growing up with this. They growing up with AI. I'm still saying when I see some stuff on the computer, ooh, is that real or is that AI? These kids know if it's real or AI because they created it. So I'm not opposed to passing the torch. I'm not opposed. And I think we need to do that. And that shout out for Jasmine Crockett. I don't get into politics. Politics is life, but I'm not a big supporter or proponent of anybody really ever. I just kind of like wait to see, what they do once they get, in the office. I'm like a quiet voter, but if I feel supportive, I feel like, okay, that's the right move, I'm gonna let you know. In Texas, Jasmine Crockett for your senator is the right move. And so help her get there. I want to ask you, so when you're like on your socials and stuff and you're sharing or liking, it's some days people are probably think that I must be hurt or injured and I must just be at home sharing, because I mean, like, gunning it, oh, share. But when you do that, because I've had to think about this and I've thought about it, when you hit that share button, are you lifting up truth? Are you lifting up the truth? Are you sharing truth? Or are you feeding the machine, the negative machine? I try not to feed the machine. I'm trying harder not to feed the machine. I'm trying harder to lift up truth. And that's usually like from folks that I listen to. I'm a big Urban View listener on Sirius. Some of my favorite folks are on there, like Karen Hunter and Larry Daniel Favor. They're just really smart people, really, really smart people, and they stay engaged. And I learned so much because, like Larry Daniel Favor, she's got this. She does this historical. She covers history. So does Clay Kane, though. They do. So does he. But I like the connection to history because it kind of explains we didn't learn from it, and now we're repeating it. So now is our time to get it right. Now is our time to get it right. We have everything we need to be successful. Everything we need. Every tool, every technology. So we just need to be more intentional about what we're going to do with our shares and our likes and our comments. I think that our kids today are subjected to a lot more than we were when we were growing up without social medias at this level that they are right now. Kids are becoming millionaires. They're doing jobs. There's so much. Every day, I swear, I think about getting off social media because it's so much going on. You can buy stuff, sell stuff. If you get in your algorithm, oh my God, and like you're looking for something like I was looking for DTF transfers for a project that I'm working on, and now everything in my feed is about DTF vendors, how to do it, when to do it, and I'm like, oh God, I gotta do something else to get it. But our kids can find anything, they can find out anything that they want to know. Anything. How many toes does a kangaroo have at birth? All you got to do is Google it. Google it. Or what's the other one? There's another one. A search engine. MSN or that's all you got to do. How many miles is it from my house to Alpharetta, Georgia, driving and flying? I know that's random, but I'm going there in a couple of weeks. So they can find out anything. So we need to be more intentional about what we're putting out there and what information we're putting. I feel like life is like all a Wikipedia page now. But it's still like, people can, regular old citizens you can put whatever you want to on anybody's Wikipedia page. Even if it's not true, you can put it on there. I think we need to be more conscientious about that. I think we also need to be, we need to stay educated about the things that affect us, We need to stay educated about things that affect us. Why is gas so high right now? What's happening? We need to find that out. Why is food so high? What's the tariff? Some of us say, oh yeah, we just nod our heads and we like, yeah, them tariffs, but we don't know what a tariff is. What's a tariff? It's a tax. Google it, find out what a tax is. If you have things going on in your state, like California, I'm gonna use California because it's my state. Find media outlets that you trust, that are non-biased. They just give you the facts. I love that, like Cal Matters. Politically, they have a site, and I get a lot of my information. I just want the information. I don't need to know how you feel about it. I need to find out how I feel about it. I just need the information so I can decide how I feel about it. If I care, does it affect me? Does it affect anybody that I know? So I try to find outlets that are unbiased. Except for SiriusXM, I'm sorry, and Urban View. They are biased. They are about the uplifting of people of color through society, community, engagement. But that's why I listen to them. I also listen rarely, but I rarely anymore, but I used to get all my news from MSNBC. Now it's called something else. I think it's called something else because I stopped listening. Just kidding. It's called MS Now, I think, or something. But I used to get all my news from them. Not even CNN. I was never a CNN in person. But now I listen to a lot of NPR, and I try to get information, that's unfiltered. I really don't need to know how you feel first. I need to know how I feel first, and if it even affects me, because when our stories are told, they move hearts. They move hearts. They change minds. They build bridges, and then they remind us that we're not invisible. Who wants to be invisible? I know people want to be left alone. And they don't want to be bothered, but that's different from being invisible. And people don't want to be invisible. And those stories that we tell, those narratives that we create, those are the ones that get folks to say, hey, you know what? I feel the same way. I'm going through the same thing. Find stories like that. Not stories that are going to be like me. I'm like, okay, they're talking, something was going on. They were talking about these things in the air, these like UFOs, but I don't think they were UFOs. I think they were like space station things that they were putting up into the air. And I read something, doom scrolling. I'm not doing that no more. And it was like, those were like, they had mini drones in them and all this stuff. And I'm like, God dog it. Now I got to do something about like protecting my house. And, I was crashing out about it. I really was. Because I was like, if they could just drop a drone in your backyard, then they, that's half the battle. Especially for me. Because I'm at home. But I had to give that. I'm like, don't do that. That's, and I'm not going to share that either. I don't share. I read the little thing and I was like, oh, maybe people need to know this. No, I did my research and I was like, no, this is no good. So, yeah, but try not to, doom scroll. Try to share positive stuff that you find. I like sharing funny stuff because I feel like a sense of humor is going to get us through a lot of this. And sometimes some of this shit is just funny. It's just funny. Some of the stuff that's fun, it's just funny. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. But a lot of it's not funny. And there's no way to laugh around it. But you can healthily think about it and wrap yourself around it and share the information. Maybe you have fear. God didn't give us the feeling of fear, though. He gave us, we don't have that in us. We are conquerors. We find out what the fear is supposed to be based on, and we conquer that. We can't walk around in fear. All right, San Bernardino, Inland Empire. I am so happy to be back on these airwaves. I'll be back next week, I believe. God says so. I'll be back next week. Think about what you're doing when you're engaging with your social medias, and if it's making your mood better or worse. Think about that and try to find some light and some happiness. Get outside so you can get some sunshine when you can. This time change will be over soon. And this has been Shazette with Working in the Margins. Stay loud, stay loving, and stay free.
Sponsor Protecting the Future of Working Families, Teamsters, 1932.org.
Hi, this is Mariette Hartley, and you are listening to TV Confidential.
Ed Robertson with a reminder that Allison Arngrim of Little House